Oh snap, my friends, we here. We have another episode of the Tony Blanco podcast, and this one is a really cool one. We're going to be talking about one of the founders of psychoanalytics, okay? You know, I be analyzing stuff because the truth is beyond the superficial. Somebody will show you a part of themselves, but that doesn't mean that that's the truth. You know, there's something to be analyzed there. You know, people will act out and you're like, yo, they're projecting because it's them. It's them, you know? But we're going to get into that in just a moment. Before we do that, I want to ask something of you. Listen, friends, we're at 153 subscribers on YouTube as I make this video right now, okay? The goal is to hit 200 subscribers. So if you are not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, share this with a friend or two so that we could reach our goal of 200 subscribers sooner than later, okay? Before next week, I want to have already achieved this. That way we can move on to the next numerical goal, okay? Boom, back to the topic at hand. But first, let me hit this mate. Damn, that shit is good. I put a little bit of coffee in it, bro. It's so fire, man. Woo! All right, so Carl Jung, he used to work with Sigmund Freud, which is like the father of like modern psychology, and that's really cool. But Sigmund Freud said a lot of creepy shit, and like he brought in kids and a lot of stuff. I don't know. I don't like to talk about that stuff. I guess maybe I will one day if the time is right, or if I find like material of his that's worth talking about that's not like creepy like that. But yeah, so Carl Jung eventually split from Sigmund Freud because they had like differences in their theories and whatnot. But one of the key things about Carl Jung is that he spoke about the shadow self, not only the shadow self, but the power of the unconscious mind. Sound familiar? You know how many times I've brought up the power of the unconscious mind, the subconscious mind? You know, and speaking of Sigmund Freud, you know, there's something called a Freudian slip, that like if you allow somebody to talk enough, they'll just slip in, you know, something that they weren't even consciously trying to say, but that their subconscious just drops into that verbal, you know, that verbal back and forth. It's some real stuff, man. It's some real stuff. The unconscious mind is a million times more potent than the conscious mind. We've spoken about this before. And now we're diving deeper into actually like taking control over your subconscious mind so that you can change your entire fucking life, okay? Integrate the shadow self, man. Learn how to be yourself. Don't ignore the shadow parts of you. Learn it. Become friends with it. Allow it to come through at your disposal, not whenever it decides to, but when you want it to, by understanding yourself more thoroughly, okay? So Carl Jung, his insights reveal the hidden forces that shape your behavior, identity, and destiny, whether you're aware of them or not. So I have a very similar setup this episode as to past episodes. I got 20 quotes that I just quickly reviewed. I didn't even read all of them. I just wanted to make sure that they were worth mentioning. And the first 2 or 3 actually look good. So man, I printed it out and we're gonna go over them together, okay? I'm gonna share with you my thoughts. Hopefully they all make sense, and I could elaborate my thoughts on all of them with you, okay? And if there is, you know, one that really speaks to you, go ahead and comment it. That would be awesome. And then if there's something that you don't really agree with my elaboration of it, and that you are familiar with the concept, or that it made you think of something else, and you know it's worth mentioning, please go ahead, comment. All comments matter. So go ahead, throw a comment in there, okay? Number 1, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That's incredible, because from a spiritual concept, some people believe in free will. Some people believe that everything is predetermined, and we call that fate. We call it God's plan, whatever the case may be. But what I understand is that the unconscious is connected, and we're using unconscious and subconscious, you know, interchangeably. So the unconscious is connected directly to infinite intelligence. Infinite intelligence being God. You know, God is infinite intelligence. And so if it's God's plan and fate is everything that God has already laid out, and infinite intelligence, which is God, is connected directly to the subconscious, then wouldn't it make sense that your unconscious directs your life and we call it fate? Oh, everything happens for a reason. You know, oh, I did that, I got that reaction, and, you know, or I was thinking about this and I attracted that, and oh, it's all fate. No, it's not fate. It's because your unconscious mind is a million times more potent than your conscious mind, and it has the ability to attract things into your life because your brain, your mind, is a radio transmitter. And whatever frequency that you are putting out there is the frequency that you are attracting. It's a very simple concept. It's not too complex. What you think of is what you are. How you feel is what you are and what you will attract. So until you make the unconscious conscious, it's going to keep directing your life because you will have no power over it. If you don't even know that it exists, how could you even begin to start having power over it? Impossible. So we must be aware of the unconscious and how it is leading us, okay? That way we can start to lead it. Because before I go into the next one, you have to understand the analogy. You know, a pit bull is massive. It's much stronger than a human being, right? But who can train the pit bull? Who walks with a leash and collar around the pit bull, you know, telling it what to do, where to go, where to poop, what to eat, when to bathe? The human being. The human being is weaker than the pit bull. The pit bull is much stronger, but the human being is the conscious mind. The pit bull is the unconscious mind, okay? You can train the beast. You can tame the beast. But if you don't even know that it exists and you don't begin to tame it, then you will never, okay? Number 2, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Whew. Man, how many of us are pretending to be somebody else? Not being as charismatic as we wish that we were, not making the jokes that we wish that we could, because we don't want to hurt somebody, because, you know, we're scared of confrontation, scared of hurting somebody's feelings, because then they're gonna lash out, and you can't handle people not liking you. Get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about, bro? The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. I'm going to be me regardless, and I don't care who like it and who don't like it. If you don't like it, get to walking. That's it. You got to adopt that attitude, bro. Because really, think about it from like a political standpoint. You know, politics divides people so much, right? Back in PA, there's a mechanic that has a giant Trump sign over his mechanic shop. You know who he attracts? People who he resonates with, people who agree with him from a political standpoint. If he loses all the business of the opposition of the political party, you know, that he's affiliated with, cool. It doesn't matter to him, because how much of a privilege it is to be one's truest self and to, you know, put out that frequency of self and attract people who you actually resonate with, instead of being somebody who you're not and trying to please people who, it doesn't matter. If they found out who the real you was, they wouldn't like you. So you might as well start being the real you now. Stop wasting time and stop playing yourself, fool. Number 3, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. Man, that's great. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people, because when you understand self, when you master self-awareness and self-mastery, you really start to see stuff in other people that hasn't been worked through yet, or hasn't been addressed, or that they are neglecting, and so on and so forth. You know, we're all extremely similar. Human nature is human nature. If you study the topic of human nature, then like your life will be supremely more easier, and you will have the upper hand and the advantage in so many things in life. So many things. Because the more you know yourself, the more you know other people. If you know what you like, you'll know what other people will like. In terms of, like, let's say, you know, you don't understand why when you ask somebody for something, they aren't going ahead and doing that for you. Well, you know, let's have somebody ask you in the same way that you ask them to get whatever task needed to be done. And then let's see how you respond. Now, if there's a more tactful way to go about it, let's try it on yourself, and then, you know, see if that's something that resonates with you more. Now, that will more than likely resonate with other people more, right? So, for example, all people are scared of commitment and the word yes, because yes means commitment. So if somebody asks me to do something and the answer that they're looking for is yes, I'm gonna beat around the bush. I'm gonna say, you know what, this and that. No is our safe word. Yes is commitment, and we don't want to commit, right? But if I ask you a no-based question, then it's a lot easier to do that. So instead of asking you, you know, can you please subscribe to my YouTube channel? It's like, you know, I don't know, I'm already subscribed to like a whole lot of other YouTube channels. That's a little bit too much for me. I could say, hey, would it be too much to ask? Like, would it be absolutely ridiculous to ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel? The answer will be, no, of course it's not ridiculous. No, of course it's not too much to ask. Why would that be too much to ask? Let me subscribe right now. Boom. So you understand, like, and the reason why that resonated with me so much is because when I turned it around on myself, I was like, wow, you know what? That's true. Like, I would answer a no-based question with a no much easier than answering a yes-based question. And so once I understood that about myself, I was able to now practice that on others. Okay? So knowing the self is the best method for dealing with others. Number 4, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Yo, that's crazy, because I think about my siblings when I think about that. There are some things that, like, I didn't realize bothered me about myself until, like, I saw it in my siblings. And then I was like, damn, like, they have yet to grow and overcome this particular aspect, you know, of us being raised by our parents in our house, whatever the case may be. For example, and to be very specific, but not like throw anybody under the bus, just being honest, like, you know, I grew up in a house where, like, we had everything that we needed, we had everything that we wanted, and, you know, like, we didn't really care to do the dishes or to help my mom with stuff. We just assumed my mom got it, whatever, and if she asked us, we'd be like, no, Mom, I'm busy, you know, playing video games. And, like, that sucks to even say, right? Like, that sucks, because then I visited my cousins for, like, 2 months, and, like, they helped their mom with everything, and it was just a totally different vibe. And I was like, wow, like, that's how I want to be with my mom. So then I went back home and I started helping a lot more. And then shortly after that, I moved out and I lived by myself. And I was like, oh my God, like, this is what it's like to live by yourself and have to do everything by yourself, have to cook, have to clean, have to take care of everything, like, and pay the rent. Like, this is crazy. So I ended up moving back home at some point in my life. And dude, I, like, wanted to do the dishes. I wanted to help my mom with stuff. You know, I wanted to help with the laundry, because I understood that, like, wow, I grew up, like, pretty spoiled, and, like, my mom deserves better. She was there for us. She did everything for us, and, you know, I want to be there for her. And my siblings, like, they haven't caught on to that yet so much, and, you know, or at least a couple years ago when I had experienced this. Hopefully now it's different. Like I said, not throw anybody on the bus. I love my family. I love my siblings. I love my parents. But I'm the oldest. I'm the only one that's lived by myself at this point. My siblings, they haven't lived by themselves. So they don't know what it's like to even to live under poverty conditions. You know what I mean? Which, God forbid, they ever have to. I don't wish that on them. I want to be rich so that they don't ever have to experience that, you know? But I did experience that. And it made me, you know, reanalyze my actions in the past and want to be a better person. So if you find something that irritates you in another person, you might actually realize that you're getting mad at behavior within yourself that you don't like. Number 5, your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. That one's cool. I think it's pretty straightforward. Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Yeah, man, because, it's like I said before. Napoleon Hill said, if your brain can conceive it and your heart can believe it, then you can achieve it. If it's here and it's here, then you need to put it out here. Okay? Because it's all in your emotions, and your heart is your emotions, right? So, it's not enough to believe something in your brain. Your visions, that's cool. You have visions, but you need to look into your heart and how you feel about it, because your emotions is where the frequencies are. It's that mind, soul connection, mind, body, spirit connection. They all need to be on the same frequency to be able to attract what you want to attract and to be able to manifest what you want to manifest in life. Okay? Number 6, in each of us, there is another whom we do not know. Oh, man. So, since I've been young, Carl Jung, since I've been young, that's pretty funny. Since I was young, I would freestyle rap. And freestyle rap is so cool because you kind of have to connect with your subconscious, which sometimes you have to be careful. Like, you'll say shit in a freestyle rap that you're like, damn, I shouldn't have said that. But you're like, it's just a rap. But really, you're directly connected to your subconscious, bro. You're going to be saying some stuff, And there is our subconscious. If you aren't aware of it yet, if you haven't channeled it, if you haven't done shadow work, then you will be intensely, incredibly surprised by the person that exists inside of you. Your shadow self will scare you. It might surprise you. It's definitely not one of those things that you just discover your shadow self and you're like, wow, this is awesome. No, you're going to be like, holy crap, this is my shadow self. This is what I truly believe. This is what I really want. And it's eye-opening, it's brain-opening, it's heart-opening, spirit-opening, really. Number 7, who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. Everything outside, this is all a figment of your imagination. This is all a dream. None of this is real. This is, it could change in an instant. If you're looking outwardly, you're looking at the simulation, but when you look inside, that's when you awaken. That's when you realize what's real, where the power lies. What truly is inside. Part of my meditations and my prayers is that I understand that I have everything that I need to succeed already. I have all the knowledge that I need. I keep learning every day, of course. I keep studying every day. I keep practicing more. But I have everything that I need to succeed already. It's all within me. You are connected directly to infinite intelligence. Don't you understand? Number 8, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Bro, it's like Tony Robbins said, you got to change the story you tell yourself about yourself. We all have a story that we tell ourselves. We all have a story that we tell others about. Oh, I went through this and I went through that. Oh, woe is me. Bro, you're wasting your traumas. What are you doing? That was literally there to make the perfect origin story of a superhero or villain. Whatever it is that you want to become, whatever it is that your shadow wants you to become, because the shadow is going to overpower you regardless. The sooner you become aware and awaken to your shadow self is the sooner that things will happen for you. Okay? You have to find alignment within that shadow self and yourself. Okay? Shadow self is self, but we neglect it until it takes over. Right? But I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. It's like, are you a victim or are you a survivor? Are you a victim of your past? Woe is me. Look, this happened to me. So sad. Feel bad for me. Blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. But you know what people do want to hear? How you overcame that. How you survived that. wow, you went through a lot and look at you now. That's amazing. Like, you're so positive all the time and you have such a good sense of humor, even though you've been through all of that. I would have never known. That is what people like feel proud of, to look at you and be like, wow, that's awesome. Like, this person is admirable. I didn't know that they went through all this bad stuff and look at how they came out. Awesome. But, you know, a lot of people like to just freaking, you know, play victim, and they get used to this story and they just do it for sympathy all the time. Man, let me tell you something, man. There's empathy and there's sympathy. Empathy you need to have in order to get anywhere in life, because you got to understand what triggers people. You got to be empathetic. You got to understand what makes people do things. You got to understand how people feel, how emotions work. But sympathy, ain't no time for that. Short word for sympathy is simp. Bro, ain't no simps in my circle, man. Ain't no simps in my circle. Ain't nobody trying to be sympathetic over here. Ain't nobody trying to feel bad for people over here. Because if I feel bad for you, now I feel bad. I ain't trying to feel bad. Pick yourself up. It's tough love. Put your head on straight, little soldier. Put chin up. Be a man. Be a woman. What are you talking about, man? Ain't nobody got no time to feel bad or be sympathetic for people. Nah. So, you know, change the story that you tell yourself and choose to be a survivor. Is your choice. Don't be a victim. By the way, right now that I have your full on attention, go listen to my brand new album, Limitless. Okay, you can find it on the same exact YouTube channel. You can find it on all streaming platforms. Y'all see I got like 20 albums that I've been dropped since 2017. Take your time, check some stuff out, man. Let me know what your favorite songs is, you know? Let me know what you want to hear more of. You like the trap stuff? You like the reggaeton? You like that little boom bap joint? You know, go ahead, listen to it and let me know what you think, okay? Moving on to the next one. Number 9. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. Dun, dun, dun. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. Bro, when you really get in touch with your shadow self and you bring it to the conscious, the forefront, you're going to lose people, you know, you're going to like, because the people who are around you that are resonating with the fake version of you, they're going to leave, right? You're going to push them away. Good riddance. Let the trash take itself out, bro. Ain't nobody trying to deal with you anyway. That's it. Goodbye. There's going to be some pain. You know, you're going to have to leave that job that isn't serving you anymore. You know, let's look at it from a super Reiki and soft and spiritual standpoint. If it's not serving you, you got to let it go. So back to the dark psychology. There's no coming to consciousness without pain, bro. You're going to feel the pain of loss and, you know, non-correlation with the things that are part of your life right now that aren't serving you, that you're clinging to. You won't let go because you think this is your life, but it's not, because you're not even in touch with your shadow self yet. Get in touch with your shadow self. Understand that some of the relationships that you have, some of the things that you have in your life, they're not in alignment with who you really are, and you let it go. That's it. You experience a little bit of pain. You don't have to like live in that pain. You know, you, like I said, victim or survivor. You're a survivor. Choose it. Commit to it right now. I'm a survivor. Say it with me now. I experience pain in my life. I experience suffering. It is a blessing to experience suffering. It is a blessing to experience pain and challenges and problems, because it is up to me to overcome them and to move on. And every time you have a problem, I level up. Every time we have problems, we level up because we overcome. And to overcome means to overcome. Okay? So the problem's here and you're here. That's the plateau. You got to overcome it. Now you're at the higher level. Now here's another problem. You got to overcome it again. All right? So yeah, there's pain and growth. You got to work out. You got to tear the muscles. The muscles got to grow. There's going to be pain and you got to be okay with that. Okay? Because the easy way is the hard way, and the hard way is the easy way. You got to experience that hardship, okay? Number 10, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. Man, people don't want to be told who they are if they don't agree with that, man. Like, yo, people will do anything to not face themselves. They don't want to hear their own voice in a recording. They don't want to see their own face on a video. Like, They don't want to be told stories of what they've done by other people. Like, bro, face yourself. Face your own soul. Do a little meditation where you stare at yourself in the mirror. Tell yourself, I love you. Tell yourself that 5 times. Do a little meditation where you stare at yourself in the eyes and you really analyze yourself and start thinking and thinking about who you really are, what you truly like, what you really like to experience, and what is no longer serving you. It's okay. It's going to be an eye-opening experience. Face your soul. Don't look yourself in the eyes with a mirror. I don't care. Sit down, close your eyes, and travel your mind. Travel the depths of your soul. But make some time. Stop trying to avoid it with distractions and escapism and drinking and smoking and drugs and bullshit. Video games and going to the bar and come on, man. Eating your life away, watching Netflix and TV, blah, blah, blah. Like, they'll do absurd shit to not face themselves. And it's such a fucking shame. Number 11. A man who has not passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them. Oh, I gotta look into that because, like, passions to me is, like, great. Like, having a burning passion. I have a burning passion for making these videos. Like, I have a burning passion for making music and, you know, for, like, building wealth and building community, building brand. Like, I love what I do. This is my fucking burning passion, right? And the quote just doesn't really resonate with me. It says, a man who has not passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them. I don't think I'm trying to overcome my passions. I think I'm trying to, like, I believe that I'm working in alignment with my passions. I'm growing my passions and I'm achieving. So, you know, like I said, we're not going to agree with everything this guy says. Number 12, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. I don't know, that's another one. Maybe what he means there is that, like, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself who they thought they were before they actually integrated the shadow self. You know what I mean? Like, you think that you are this person and you know, it's not really the real you, but you accept it completely. I don't know. Share your thoughts. What do you think that means? The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Okay, next, number 13. Loneliness does not come from having no people around, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to oneself. Man, I've been in relationships before. I've been around people before that I'm like, yo, I would rather just be alone right now. Like Buddha said, I would rather live alone than live in a house with fools. Like, you want to know what real loneliness is? Try living in like a big city surrounded by people, but nobody says hello. Nobody has any connections. You know, like, you just go into your little apartment and you come outside just to work and everything is cold. Like, that's loneliness, you know, no real relationships or connections or friendships. That's lonely when you're surrounded by people, but you can't share your thoughts and what really matters to you. That's loneliness. You know, if you have 1 or 2 people that you could really be your true self around, you could communicate the things that seem important to oneself, then, you know, you could combat that loneliness. But not for nothing. I mean, on the path of self-mastery and the path of, you know, being the best version of yourself, you got to be okay with loneliness here and there for the most part. A lot of the growth happens when you're alone. At the same time, you know, you don't want to be a hermit or a recluse. You want to have a social life and enjoy, go out to eat, this and that, have barbecues. You know, it's good. Life is good. Life is beautiful. Enjoy. But yeah, loneliness does not come from having no people around, but not being able to communicate the things that seem important to you. Number 14, we meet ourselves time and again in 1,000 disguises on the path of life. That's true. We meet ourselves in 1,000 disguises on the path of life, time and time again. Just goes back to like birds of a feather flock together. We have no control over that. Our frequency, well, we do have control over that because of the frequency that we tune into. But that's the thing. If you're unaware of it, then you don't have control over it. If you're aware of it, which is what I'm doing, making you aware of it, then you could change that. The frequency that you put out there is the frequency that you will attract. who you are is the frequency that you're putting out there. And so you're going to attract the same type of people as you. So if you're seeing a lot of people that are irritating you and this and that, and then you start to really analyze and see, wow, we have a lot more in common than different, you know, it's really yourself that needs to change. That way you start attracting more higher quality people because you make yourself more higher quality. You understand? Number 15, what you resist persists. Oh man, I resist curvy, beautiful women. I resist curvy, beautiful women. I resist curvy, beautiful women. Bro, what you resist persists? Oh man, let's go. All right, so like in all actuality, like what you try to like, you know, make not happen really hard. You're like, no, like this, I absolutely, you know, will never do this and this will never happen to me in my life, and you're constantly scared of it. It's constantly at the forefront of your mind. It doesn't matter that it's a bad thing and that you don't want it to happen. You know, infinite intelligence doesn't decipher that beginning, you know, prefix of like don't want or do want. It just focuses on the thought, on the object of what you're thinking about, and then it will happen because it's what you are attracting. So if you are like, no, I don't want to live in a state of scarcity. I don't want to live in a state of scarcity. Guess what is going to happen? Infinite intelligence didn't lock in on don't want. It locked in on scarcity. So what you want to do is practice gratitude and focus on, I live in a state of abundance. I am so grateful and happy that I live in a state of abundance, and I have everything that I need, and I have all the wisdom that I need to achieve, and I have the ambitions and motivations to do. You understand? That's a little prayer you could take. I be doing that stuff. It helps. It helps a lot. So what you resist persists. And all that means is that like what you focus on expands. So if you focus on something bad, like is gonna happen because you're focusing on it. So focus on something good. Focus on what you're grateful for and multiply it. Make it happen more and more and more. Okay? Number 16, the shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. Yeah, I mean, look, everybody's different, man. You know, like there is no one size fits all. And everybody has their own life path. Of course, success leaves clues, and you want to copy different things, you know, different models of success from different people that you look up to. But ultimately, you forge your own path. You know, people always say, how come there's not a how to make money class in school? Because think about it. Like if we were all making money in the same exact way, then it wouldn't be valid anymore. People hit on something, they start making money on that, and they don't want to share that with everybody. Because it wouldn't make sense economically. To the economy itself, it would not make sense. Everybody needs to make money doing a different service. That way, everybody, it's like a bartering system, but with currency in the middle of it, right? As the transactional thing. Instead of me coming to you with a chicken and asking for milk from your cow, you know, it's like, you know, I'm selling you the chicken for this much money, and I'm going to take this money and I'm going to buy your milk. So it's like, you know, yeah, there's an extra step there, but, you know, that gives us the freedom to be able to go and buy whatever we want from anywhere. And, you know, money in and of itself is like this whole other game, this whole other economy that now, you know, you can make money with money, which is crazy. We'll talk about that on a whole nother thing. The better that I get at that, the more that I learn about that, then I'll teach you more. But you have to forge your own path. That's the main point of what I'm saying. You can't follow somebody else's exact steps. You know, you have your own story. You have your own traumas. You have your own shadow self. You have your own ideals. You have your own standards, values, and beliefs, so on and so forth. Number 17, even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness. Where there is light, there must be dark. Where there is day, there must be night. Duality. Where there is up, there must be down. Where there is left, there must be right. You understand what I'm saying? Where there is right, there must be wrong. Even a happy life has a measure of darkness. And that's okay. We integrate that shadow to achieve greatness. Number 18, every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic be alcohol or morphine or idealism. That's true. A lot of people are addicted to their morality and like, oh, like, you know, like taking the moral high ground and like, oh, I'm so much better than you because I believe this. Like, yo, because you believe in something, you're better. Get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about, bro? Like, it's like being an idealist is, you know, refusing what is so that you could think of what should be. But like Niccolo Machiavelli said, those who insist upon focusing on what should be instead of what is actually pursuing their own downfall rather than their longevity. You understand? So in simple words, it's like, okay, this is what is, and if you focus on what is, you learn the rules, then you could win the game. But instead you're like, I don't like the rules of the game. This game sucks. Well, too bad. This is the game of life. There is no changing it. You can't just like play a different game. This is the game of life, period. So people are like, no, that's not ideal. This is what should be. And then they're still broke. They're still whining and crying for their whole freaking life. Then they you know, become these freaking like idealistic, you know, people that want to spread the ideas to other people. They become college professors. You know, they fucking taint the youth by, you know, tainting their brains with what should be, and they go nowhere. The kids go nowhere. They grow up to be losers too. Forget about it, bro. You don't want to do that shit. Focus on what is so that you can make it happen right here, right now. Number 19, shame is a soul-eating emotion. Bro, when I do Reiki, you got to understand the sacral is the sixth chakra, and it deals with pleasure. You know what blocks it? Guilt. So you can't orgasm, you can't have like great fucking sex because you feel guilty. You know how sucky that is? Like, that fucking sucks, bro. Shame eats away at your soul. That's why, like, in Spanish, the term is sin vergüenza, like without shame. Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah, without shame. Like, people will really talk about somebody and be like, oh, look at him, you know, he has no shame. Hell yeah. Why would anybody want to feel shame? And anybody projecting that on other people, like, oh, look, he feels no shame because like shame eats away at their soul. No, thank you. You could keep that. I'm good on that. You take that L, because I ain't trying to do that. We don't feel shame on this side. We don't feel sympathy. We don't feel shame. We don't do none of that. Nah, we focus on what is, how to win the game of life, how to be the best version of ourselves, how to integrate the shadow self, learning more about ourselves, learning more about psychology, learning more about motivation, learning more so that we can achieve more. Number 20, you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. Man, I talked about it for years in college. Oh yeah, I'm a rapper. I didn't have not one song out. Then all of a sudden, I got into a freaking accident, couldn't walk for 2 years. You know what I started doing? I had no choice but to sit down. That's all I could do was sit down. Started making beats, making music, boom. Now I have so much music out, it's crazy. And my grandfather the other day, he asked me, like, what are your assets? And I didn't really have much to answer because I was like, yeah, like my car, you know, and I stopped because that's the only thing that I really own that I thought of in the moment. But, you know, like he was saying, yeah, your car, your family, not your parents, because, you know, your parents, you're part of their family, but now you have to make your own family. And, you know, like your house that you own and And, you know, like, yeah, he's right. But I'm thinking about this digital world. I'm thinking about these digital products. I'm thinking about these YouTube channels. I'm thinking about, you know, my name and my songs and my brand. Like, that's assets. You know what I mean? Like, building assets, building brand. And for, you know, every time that my songs get streamed, I'm getting a little something. You know, so the bigger that I build my brand, the more that I'll be able to monetize. So this is the main focus, is the personal brand. This is my biggest asset. My name and my face, my persona is my biggest asset. And if you listen to any modern day entrepreneur, like what's the most important thing is personal brand. Yeah, you could have brands on the side, but like Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, like all these like, you know, big figureheads, that's exactly what they are, figureheads. Because there are other people that make Amazon Amazon. There are other people that make Apple Apple. Like Steve Jobs has been dead for almost a fucking decade, but people still think of Steve Jobs when they think of Apple. Why is that? Because the figurehead is mad important, you know? You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. So, you know, whatever it is that you're giving yourself these dopamine hits by saying that you're gonna do, stop mentally masturbating and start actually doing it. It's gonna take time. You know, you're gonna have to put in the work, sweat equity, and you're gonna be very happy that you did it. I wrote a book. Speaking of which, let me plug that in real quick. So I wrote my first book on psychology of tips. It's called Tipology: Secrets of Earning More Tips Using Psychology and Persuasion. That's right. That's right. Master the mind, multiply the money, baby. So if you are a bartender or a server, go ahead, hit me up. I'll send that book over to you at a special price just because, you know, we locked in together, baby. Yeah, let's go. So first book is written, you know, that's another major asset. Like, bro, like, what are you talking about? What are your assets? Man, these things that I'm creating, that's what my assets are. So listen, man, I know you have hopes. I know you have dreams. I know you have ambitions. And, you know, lock in with yourself. Do some meditation. Lock in with your shadow self. Lock in with what it is you really want to do in life. And put that frequency out there. Let the universe, let God, sorry, let me correct myself, because God created the universe. Let God remove the people that don't serve you. Let God remove you from the situations that do not serve you, and actually put you in alignment with things that are in your frequency, which are going to happen regardless. But the most important thing is changing your frequency to what it is that you want to achieve, what it is that you want to do, and going ahead and actually doing it. Actually doing it. Okay? Wow, what a great episode. We went damn near 45 motherfucking minutes, man. As always, it's great. Again, send this to a friend. Ask a friend, you know. Let me tell you a psychological trick, okay? When you introduce somebody to somebody, it means way more than if somebody walks up to you and say, hey, how you doing? I'm Tony Blanco. I make, you know, music. I make YouTube videos, da-da-da. You're like, oh, wow, cool. I just met this guy who he makes YouTube videos. That's really cool. But if somebody walks up to you and they're like, oh my God, listen, you have to check out this guy's YouTube videos and this guy's music. Like, his name is Tony Blanco. He's super cool. And, you know, he inspires me and this and that. That's social proof. That's a testimonial right there. That's why referrals and word of mouth referrals are more important and more powerful, more potent than any other type of referral, okay? Any other type of marketing. So that being said, this is why I'm asking you, please, like, it's not like just so that we can share and get the word around. No, like, I would really, like, bro, would it be too much to ask for you to please give a word of mouth referral to somebody who you think this would resonate with? Bottom line, period. Like, that is going to be so much more powerful than me reaching out to strangers and stuff like that. So let's grow this channel together. I love you. I'll see you next time. Peace and love.